Hello everybody, my name is Eric, and today we're going to be looking at some Roblox Grow a Garden malware. So this is a popular Roblox game that seems to be taken off. While I was looking for this, we could find a bunch of stuff about it. Yeah, this is a big game, and people have already started, much like we saw in Minecraft. Fake duplication tools are a great way to spread malware. So let's watch this wonderful video and let's see if there's any red flags or if this looks like something legit that you should disable your antivirus for and run it as administrator. Okay, so he's got one raccoon. Now, at this point, it was 1, 2, 3. On the later downloads, it's actually been changed, but okay. The raccoon was duplicated. So it says you got to disable the antivirus. And in this version, we can see a VB script and a DLL. Now, and there's probably a cut here. Let's see. Yeah, there's probably a splice there, but fair enough. And now we've got the second one. Now he's going to try and get you to do the Discord, and then he can clone up to 50 pets. Now I'm going to assume, I haven't played this, but I'm going to assume the pets are hard to get, and that's why this is desirable. Imagine some of you have played this and can tell me, but that's my guess. So yeah, so that's basically this. So there's multiple steps here. Now, in this version, there wasn't the exe, but the latest version that I have downloaded does have this exe, which is where I believe the actual payload lies here. So there's also a JSON file. Let's see what that does. Oh, that's... Oh, okay, that's my bad. That's because I was trying to detect it easy on it. That's not from the actual. So we've got growagardendupe.exe, and we got growagardenduplication.vbscript. Now, we can look at the VB script, and we can quickly see it doesn't look like there's anything, unless there's hidden text somewhere here. It doesn't look like there's anything malicious here. This actually looks, and we saw that in the video. So let's just run the VB script. Yep, that's just like what we saw in the video. But as you can tell from looking at that script, that is not going to duplicate anything. There's also this bypass NC, which I would have thought could be no cheat. Maybe that's what it was supposed to be. But if you actually look, this is a signed DLL from Valve. The signature is valid, which means it hasn't been modified. So unless this was intended to be used as a part of a side-loading attack, that's harmless. So now we've got this growagardendupe.exe. Now let's take a look at you. Now this is, I believe, a UPX packer. At least that's what Detective Easy thought. And if we go and look at the memory map, we can see that. Now I'm probably just going to, because this is a Windows virtual machine and I don't have UPX installed on here, I'll probably just manually unpack it, which is stupidly easy on this. Okay, and it appears we just unleashed that. This is why you use throwaway VM when you're doing. Well, that works. That definitely works. So let's see what exactly is going on here. So if we had any doubts, there was malware here. Immediately it tries to turn off user access control, which is actually not a very good mitigation. I'm just going to quickly run auto runs. That's usually a pretty quick way of seeing, okay, what's been added to this system. Oh, hi there. You don't quite look right. winlogin.exe does not live in common files, in case any of you didn't know that. So that seems to be the persistence mechanism. Now, I imagine this is the same binary as the one that I just made the mistake of running as administrator. Should be clear, I didn't make a mistake. I knew what I was doing. I was just tracing it out and payload ran. Also, why I should always say, don't try this at home. Like, if you're going to, you gotta be sure you know what you're doing. You got levels of isolation. So it moved itself here. And there's also probably some sort of session file created by the malware, I'm guessing. Check Steam. This is, in fact, real. This win login is not real. And we will just drag this one off. Also, interestingly, they chose 6900 as the entry. I can be pretty confident that wasn't a random choice. And yeah, this is the exact same thing. Modified UPX. Okay, so it seems Binary Ninja and x64 debugger. Is this because of Asler? So now let's try dumping that with x64 debug again and actually doing it properly. If you want to manually unpack UPX, you can find the jump that jumps into what should look like an empty region and put a breakpoint there. And once you're in that region, you are now in the unpacked binary. Now we're getting somewhere. We've got what is clearly, the real binary is clearly actually Golang. Oh, look at that. Oh, that looks legit to me. Yep, there's nothing malicious in here. Let's take a look. Get Chrome autofills, get Chrome tokens. Yeah, the remnants of the symbols are here, which means if we really want to, we can actually fix that. Might need a slightly cleaner dump of the binary, but... And after doing things the proper way, we might be able to get the... because this was a Skylar dump, which because... Unlike UPX-D didn't fix these, it didn't work with the Go plugin, but now that we've got our binary sections back, we should be able to pretty cleanly fix this up. And now, thanks to a wonderful open source project called GoReSim, I was actually able to reproduce the symbols, and then I was able to, while this couldn't parse it because they removed the section in the binary, I was able to get it back with GoReSim, and then I was able to load that into Binary Ninja using this plugin. So that's how we got this. And now we've got some very clear ideas of what's going on. We got main steal, decode Steam, code Steam. You can tell, this is looking a bit like an info stealer to me, and this also fixes the string, so we can see this. Now, what I'm always interested in, because I know it's a bit more difficult, is potentially looking at the Chrome. And then we've got what appears to be a SQLite, which once it's gotten in, it can use, yep, and then we've got a SQLite query that is dumping that. It does that. Now, of course, what? Does it not go for Roblox? Okay, now here is check dupes. This could actually be where... Okay, we got some... It doesn't seem to run the VB script, and it didn't when I executed it either. Discord, yeah, so it's got... And these strings are still not quite right because Go uses a different string allocation method, but we can get an idea of what's going on here, get best method. And because we have symbols, we end up with something that's a lot more intelligible than it otherwise would be. It also, okay, so there's a keylogging function. Oh, so there's some potentially rat-looking stuff. That's interesting. Download files, so it can download files. C2 server can get processes. So it's got a pretty advanced setup going on here. Your clipboard, your special key name, one event hook. So it's a good thing I noticed because this was running on the system for a while, so I got rid of that. Keylogger, get screen, is idle, get active window. So in theory, they'll have some screenshots of me reverse engineering this. I'm sure that'll be, they can get your HWID. Yeah, got that. It'll check if we're admin. And this would be essentially an uninstall function, most likely. And there's a folder called steal, Yandex. Yeah, this is probably some sort of open source or malware as a service looking at this, because if this was a purely Roblox target, they would have probably, like when you see, like for example, that RuneLite Pro that we looked at a while ago, which was a custom piece of malware, you can tell that they really focused on what they were after. Still, it's something new. It's not a complete rehash of something else. This is written in Go. Inevitable problem with Go and to some extent Rust is a lot of threat actors don't even seem to realize that it's actually very hard to get symbols fully out of that. So it can, it's not always easy to analyze in the sense the disassembly is quite messy, but symbols is oftentimes enough to understand a program without any disassembly reading unless you need something really specific. You'd be like, okay, I got a pretty good idea this is not legit. They also used a UPX packer, which I initially thought was specifically modified because that's what Dai told me, and it didn't look quite the same. So I dumped it with x64 debug, but it turned out I could just use regular UPX to unpack it. So mixed bag. Don't cheat in games. That's actually the best advice I can give you, but let's just actually see if there's other hits as well for this. Also, really helpful. What should I say? Don't cheat in games. That's my opinion. If you're going to, knowing what exists and what doesn't exist is helpful. Not to say that there are never ever duplication glitches. I know they have happened, but odds of finding random duplication stuff is pretty low. There's also these guys for whatever reason, which is like actually I think basically a paid cheat engine wrapper. And if you search for anything cheat related on any site with ads, you get ads for this. It's not really a scam. It's just not. So we got this. This looks to be another one. Maybe there was a glitch at some point because like this has been up for a while. This could be real.
So
yeah, and this guy's not pushing any downloads, so I'm gonna guess this one could be real. But that video, it got a decent amount of views, and especially to a younger player, unfortunately, could be convincing. So remember, turn off your when you're told, okay, you just got to turn off your antivirus. Actually, let's upload the properly clean unpacked. I'm just curious how that's gonna, if that'll get more detections. They say you got to turn off your antivirus because it's false positive. Don't trust that. It's never worth it. Antivirus isn't perfect, but it does catch some types of problem soft. So how can we get rid of this? Well, luckily, it's pretty thoroughly detected by antivirus. So in many cases, simply running a scan should get rid of this. I had the packed version uploaded as well, and UPX gets pretty detected. You can see a lot of these are detecting it, not all though. So that's one way you can try and... Is that pause? For a second I thought, oh my god, we got pause stealer. If anyone's ever gonna like name one after me, that would be kind of, I don't know, funny in a way. Salad A, some people are calling it, yeah. Okay, so this is actually apparently called, yeah, and it definitely did that. So yeah, I think this is the same thing. So another indicator of compromise is you go to user account control, and if you see this, you didn't do this, that's an indication of compromise for this particular payload. It's kind of interesting how some people seem to be making things, they call it stealer because that's kind of the rage, and then it has more power. So simple way, get rid of this. Go like this. You run this administrator, run this or any other auto run tool. You can get rid of the auto run, kill the process if you want to manually remove it. In this case, this one is also detected by Windows Defender, so running that will get rid of it. And hopefully you've learned a lesson that I think actually I already deleted it, so that's not as helpful. But yeah, you can delete the file in here. You run an antivirus scan, you should do that anyways. And hopefully this is, if you did fall for this, a lesson not to be really careful with what you're downloading. So that's going to be all from me for now. Bye.